I guess I've been growing gourds around 25 years, and some man a few miles down the road was growing gourds, and I went and bought some for birdhouses, and he said, well, you can grow your own, and he gave me a few seed, and that's where it started from. This gourd happens to be a Maranka. A lot of people call it caveman's club because it looks like a club, and they have seed in them. But this makes a pretty birdhouse also. But it's the name of that gourd is a Maranka. You could take the seed out of this Maranka gourd and plant it next year, but you may not get this gourd. When you plant a gourd seed, you don't always get what you plant. It's still a pleasure because all the gourds are different. A lot of times we have some gourds that are cross-pollinated and they don't have a name.
Look up at the stars, and that's how many variables you have on a percussion instrument. There's a lot of different philosophies on how you're going to approach playing drums in a situation, but it's wide open. That's real inspiring to me. That is something that can really elevate you from a practice session, how you can mold a sound and get it to blossom open. And it can really change the way you look at the world, and when the world's really bad and you play that, it can be something that can move you past any problem and also sustain you at the same time.
I don't think I'm an artist. I think I'm probably a craftsman. I think I have some skill. I have people that tell me that the pottery is pretty good, and a lot of what I make is functional pottery. It's something that you can take to your kitchen and bake a casserole in or use for a mixing bowl. I just want it to be something that people can look at and maybe think of Danny Whitlock when I'm gone, and they'll say, I remember him, I have this piece of pottery, and I'm glad I do. I'm always amazed at the different things that women and men can do to be creative. They're all looking for a way to make something that someone else will take and enjoy.
When it becomes art is when you share that with someone else and they get it, because you're saying something to their story, something that resonates with them. And I think that's when it really becomes art. Whether it's you make a pot that someone uses or music that will take you back to a place that you've been 10 years ago.
They say when you're fishing, you can't worry. When the artist is working on the gourd, doing whatever with it, wood burning, cutting, carving, painting, your mind is on nothing but what you're doing. I think people create because they have found something that they can do that a lot of other people can't do, that they have made with their hands.
Clay can be a very, very personal thing like that. You dug it out of the ground, you know. To go into the studio and make mugs or teapots, you look up and an hour has escaped. Days are gone and weeks are gone, and you're doing what you love, and it's a great feeling.
When you hold a gourd and you hear those sounds, that came from the earth and it grew, and the seeds in it, or the way somebody manipulated the seeds on the outside. There's a way of shaking it and moving it and closing it off and opening it up. It's amazing how much. And so at the Gourd Festival, what's really great for me as a teacher and a player, because if you'll notice I played too, is that I get to teach the students while we're improvising. When we're playing at the Gourd Festival, there's no plan. Get a groove going, but it gives me a chance to take each one of these, and I tell all my students, if you see something that looks good, pull it up, and if you're not sure how to play it, I'll show you how to do that. And so they walk away from a very fun afternoon. They learn how to manipulate something so basic, and when I always know if I've reached some of them is when they ask me, hey, can you help me go pick out a gourd? And I know that tradition is going to be handed on, and so that's a very good feeling too as a teacher.
I think gatherings are especially important in this area of Western Kentucky. The Gourd Festival at the Ice House is an example of that. If you can't find anything to do, you're just really not looking. It was a beautiful day, the sun was shining. Probably 200 or 300 people stopped by and chatted to me.
You don't see anybody grumpy at the Gourd Festival. You see everybody pretty happy.
We have this this large body of folk art based on gourds. That's what the Gourd Festival celebrates, this long tradition of gourd art. But art has a different meaning depending on who's creating it. The whole Gourd Festival is geared toward family, just as important to bring the children in as the adults. The ability to create art is an honor and a privilege, and we encourage everyone to express themselves through art.
Some of the gourds they work on, it may take 20 hours, and they may sell that gourd for $30. So you can figure the math. They're not doing it to make money. They're doing it for relaxation. They're doing it for enjoyment. They want to create something.
I think it can open up a whole world for you, and it's definitely mine. Some of my friends always said that you play the way you play. Emotionally, how I perceive sound is the extension of me.
I think that it's basic human nature for humans to want to be creative and to contribute something to their community and maybe society as a whole.
And it starts with, the seed of, oh, what happens if I try this? And then you do something and it leads to something else.
Creativity is real simple. You have to try. You don't wake up, and I tell this to my students, you cannot wake up one morning and go, I'm going to be a creative from now on. That's not going to work. It always starts with the first try. Sometimes creativity comes from discipline, and that's where the study comes, so that you have a vocabulary. If you were going to want to be a writer, if you don't write a paragraph, you can't write a book. If you're a musician and you want to play jazz or rock or country or ragas or whatever, it's for everyone. And you can, in your own living room, garage, it doesn't matter where, you have the option to do that. Young or old, you have to start with the basics. And then once you do that, you're always on your own to try to do something. You have the license. There's no rules to say you can't. All you have to do is try. And that's all the great musicians and all the great, if you even think scientists, they tried. How many times did they fail? Lots. And so if you don't try, you'll never know. So go try.